good day to all of you all, wherever you are might be tuned in to watch this particular episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Conversations. As always, we have with us a leader who has a fascinating backstory, and with him, we try and understand what goes into the making of a leader. More than the professional side of things, we try to understand the personal side of things, their formative years, their interests, their passions, their hobbies, what drives them on, and everything that essentially forms the building blocks of their personality. So, with that said, we welcome with us Nandkishor Dhomne, who's CIO at Manipal Health. Of course, health is one of the most in focus sectors of the day. So, we thank Nandkishor for taking time out of his doubtlessly usually busy schedule to be here with us. Nandkishor, welcome to this episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Conversations. How are things?
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, very good morning to you and all the viewers here. And it's my great pleasure to be part of this interaction. And the name is really very attractive title. We have a cutting chai conversation. And that is what actually caught my attention. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to a really wonderful and engaging chat with you.
Likewise, likewise. So, the usual opener, Nandkishore, leadership can mean so many things to so many people, but what does it really mean to you? What is your definition of leadership?
When you define a leader, right? I mean, you may be a leader at home, you will be a leader in friends, you may be a leader in office, and you may be a leader in various other places, right? So it's all about people. As long as you are able to connect with people, you are able to sort of manage people and try to make sure that you achieve a common goal using whatever strength those people have. Then you are a leader. I'm not, questioning the technical aspects of an individual because he will be a technical expert in a said domain, but that's
Right.
just not enough. What you need really is a people management skill. And then
Sure.
other than that, definitely you need to have your, time management, prioritization, your articulating skills,
Totally.
etc. So those things are given. But what I have seen is that most of the people, most of the leaders, they generally fail when they do not have a strong people management skill. Anywhere, I'm not just saying about the professional part of it, even at a
Yeah.
personal level. Okay, if you're a part of some group somewhere, and if you're not able to manage the sentiments of that group and an overall cultures and people management aspect, so probably as a person you will normally tend to fail.
That's so true, actually, because it's a very cogent point that you raise because the whole softer side of managing people is something that's probably become even more prominent over the last year with teams being so all over the place. Because otherwise, you run the risk of being very transactional and trying to get done what you need to do to achieve your objectives as a person, as a leader, as an organization, even. Um, I mean, it's
But
been a challenging year, goes without
I
saying,
would
but
like to
what
add
have
one more
you
point here,
perhaps,
if you allow me.
right?
Yeah. So what happens is that
Yeah, sure.
normally at a work, even at a workplace, when you try and manage these people and work with them very closely in order to meet the objectives, which are defined by the
Uh-huh.
organization for you, uh, many people try to judge an individual based upon the personality, right? That is where actually the issue comes. When you are handling a situation, so let for example conflict management or crisis management part of it, rather than you looking at that person as an individual, if you can look at the task which was assigned to him and how he handled the task, rather than what kind of person he is, right? So what we normally tend to do is that we set a mindset, okay, that this person is like this, and we sort
True,
of
very true.
drift away from the real issue. But if you understand the way he managed a particular task, rather than understanding what kind of person he is, the issue is much, much more, I will say easier to resolve than if you sort of look at a person at in a way that what kind of person that person is, right?
That's so true. That's very true. I think it's a very typically human thing to form your perceptions and then act basis that even if you don't know that you're doing so consciously. It's a very human thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's been obviously a challenging year, Nandkishore, for everybody, for people, for economies, for society, for businesses across the board. What is the one thing perhaps that you miss most at a personal level over the last year or so?
You mean to say during the COVID time?
During this past year, yeah, once everything really broke out in March and really after that.
Right. Yeah, so the very important thing what we missed was meeting people, networking, connecting with them. Because even as a human being, we're not used to be online, online with our office colleagues, online with your relatives, online with even your kids or your parents if they're not with you. So as a human beings, we are not supposed to be like this, okay? And that is something which was really stressful, that you're not able to even meet your mom or your dad, your kids, if they are not living with you. And secondly, doing everything online, it has its own, pros and cons, right? Person can get stressed, and you're there in front of the screen so much, number of hours, and you're stressed. You're unable to de-stress. Even a person like me, who's very much health freak, and I need to go to the gym and all that. So gyms were closed, your shops are closed, your office is closed. You're not, supposed to personally travel. Airlines are closed. The traffic is not there. So maybe just getting confined to four walls, right? That puts a lot of stress on you. That's the negative part of it. The positive side is that you still learn how to survive in those kind of environments. Yeah, so that was a negative aspect of this whole thing. But COVID also taught us many lessons. Okay, many lessons in terms of how to survive in this kind of environment. Number one, okay, how you can still manage your health. You might sort of try and do some kind of physical exercise, some yogas and all that. Try to spend more time with the family, which you probably were not able to do so because of your busy schedules and all that. Okay, so from the family front, from the health front, you sort of did a lot of innovation, and maybe some people kind of did their, let's say, health session, yoga sessions on video. Okay, do online stuff and all that. Then also try to manage the operations in your office environment through online systems. Okay, you use the platforms like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, etc., to deliver whatever professional responsibilities you have to deliver. So, and probably that is something which we try to do better and better day by day, because we knew the fact that we have no choice but to do the work only this way, online and digital. There's no other way, right? That's one. The third aspect was that it was on the economics part of it, where there were salary cuts and all that, and in a lot of companies had a pay cuts, including our company. We had some pay cuts and all that. So you also learn how to survive, with those kind of situations where you are not able to carry the full salary, your home, right? Or some people, they lost jobs, unfortunately. And the corona situation, so I'm saying it taught a lot of lessons, personally, professionally, socially, from the economic front. So I think I would rather say that as an individual, I am more prepared for such kind of situations, if at all they occur in future. God forbid we should not have such situations in future, but if at all they arise, probably we are better prepared to handle those kind of situations. Even as an organization, this is more of a personal level, I'm saying. But even as an organization, the companies like us, Manipal, where I work currently, we are more prepared or better prepared for the future, situations, if there are similar, uh, virus or some other kind of, pandemic situations.
Very true. You mentioned how you've taken the time out to try and take some attention for physical health, to try get some exercising in. I think cycling, which I hear is one of your big interests, is something that probably saw a lot of gain, a lot of interest over this past year because it's a socially distant form of exercise. Have you managed to take time out to cycle a lot, or what else have you done to try and maintain your physical fitness over this past year?
Yeah, yes. Typically, I manage to take time out not only for cycling but also for gymming. And uh, I said that the gyms were closed, so then I went to a shop and I picked up some good equipment, gymming equipment for my home. And I bought those equipment, the basic,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bench, the dumbbells, and whatever that stuff, basic stuff. And I was able to really do gymming almost every day. And then after, I think a month or so, I found one good friend in the same society, and he was also very keen for gymming, and he had enough space in his apartment. So we shifted all the equipment to one place, and both of us we used to gym.
Beautiful.
And that guy, he works for a company called Flipkart, and he's a techie, a developer. And between my experience and his experience, almost, he's like a 26 years young chap, right? And I'm much older compared to him. So it was not only gymming, but I was sort of, I used to gossip with him, learn a lot of things from him. He learned a lot many things from my experience. So it was gymming as well as, having good interaction, having good chat with him, making some friends. So in a nutshell, I really enjoyed that kind of health exercise. Uh, for cycling, I used to just, come out and within the same premises, just do some maybe 12, 13, 14, 20 rounds of cycling. So I think with all of that, I was able to manage my health aspects quite well.
Now, I hear that you also enjoy console gaming a fair bit. Something I also dabble in a whole lot, not nearly as often as I would have liked, but yeah. Is that something that's developed more recently, or is it a longer love affair you've had with gaming?
Well, this is almost, I would say, goes back by almost 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
When I bought my first console PS3, and I wasn't really aware about the console gaming because I used to play a lot of games on the desktop initially, maybe
Right.
some 20 years back or 15 years back, and then slowly we moved to a mobile-based gaming. Okay,
True.
so I used to have a good. I'm an Apple fan, by the way, so I used to have the latest Apple phone always with me. Even now, I hold the latest phone. So I used to play a lot of games on Apple phone, and then somehow I don't know, I heard about this console gaming, and I picked up my first PS3. And I like the action games where you just pick up the gun and start firing at the enemy. So and then I invested on 4K TV and the good home theater to get those kind of sound effects, the Dolby Atmos sound effects and all that. And recently, then I replaced that with PS4 and then bought some good titles. And I used to play
Right.
5, 6, 7 hours non-stop gaming, late night and all that.
So, have you tried your hand at some of the more, say, open world games that have come out recently, like, say, for example, Ghost of Tsukushima, or maybe even Red Dead Redemption 2?
Well, I
Because those
didn't
are
try.
very expensive.
Yeah, I didn't, but they are in my list. Okay. Now I am waiting for PS5 to come because PS5
Uh-huh.
is a 4K console. Okay. Having said
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
I already played Just Cause 2. Okay. That was an open world
Ah,
game.
nice.
I also played Far Cry 4. It's again an open world game.
Ah,
Okay, a couple of those titles which are I still love those titles, and they have the new version now. Far Cry 5 is just hit the market, and that's a 4K. But I have a console which is not 4K, so I'm waiting for PS5. I think February they're launching it, so I'm just
hmm.
tracking that. So as soon as they
Yeah,
get launched in India, I'm going to buy that.
yeah. Yeah, I've always been a sucker for open world games of all sorts. You're talking GTA, you're talking Red Dead Redemption, even Spider-Man for that matter, which I think is just a masterpiece of gaming. It's just beautifully made. Just swinging through the streets of New York itself is so much fun. Um, you do love your gadgets, like you mentioned, and you are a self-avowed Apple fanatic. I see your Apple Watch with the metal loop, or you talk of the Apple phone. If I, were to put you on the spot and say there's just one prized possession you can take with you to a marooned island and that's it, what would that be?
I didn't get you. I lost you in between.
Okay, I'm just saying that you, like you said, you're a self-avowed gadget fan. You're an Apple fan. If I were to put you on the spot and say that you can have just the one gadget and you're marooned on a island somewhere, and you have hypothetically the ability to charge it, what gadget, the one gadget that you take along with you to that island?
I'll take my iPhone and I'll download a lot of games before going there, right? And there's enough capacity, 512 GB, so that at least for next 1 month I have enough games to play. Because I'm sure at the island there won't be any 3G or 4G signal, right? So
No, no.
I'll have
Hypothetically,
no
there's Wi-Fi.
communication.
Hypothetically, there's a charger as well, so that's also taken care of. It's a hypothetical
Fine,
universe
I'll
you
take
operate
my
in.
iPhone. I'll take my iPhone definitely.
All right, all right, super. You also have an interest in photography, so you told me, and you have a 5D Canon Mark 5D Mark III, I believe it is.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
What do you most enjoy capturing then? Is it wildlife, action photography, food, cars, like anything particular, or just generally?
See, okay, so the it was again as a part of hobby. I just picked up this professional DSLR, and that was roughly around I think 8 9 years back. And that
Right.
time it was the advanced camera. We all
It
know
was.
that, right? The Canon 5D Mark III, and maybe that time the basic model used to be around some 3.5 to 4 lakhs, right? With one
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
lens. Post that, I also picked up some 3 to 4 lenses, okay, as a part of my hobby. And then I always had a thought in mind that I will go travel for maybe a photography tour. There are a lot of tours they plan these days, which are only for the photography, and you get like-minded people, those who are
Hmm.
having a similar hobby, right? And they travel with you. All those plans were there in my mind, but somehow because of the busy schedule, I couldn't do that. And while I have best of the cameras, the best of the lenses with me, 5 6 lenses, macro, zoom lens, telephoto, and all the kind of stuff. But I'm still doing in the auto mode, right? I I also had a plan to do a course in the photography and also understand all the features of the camera it offers. It's like I'm driving a BMW 7 Series, but I don't know any feature. I just switch it on and switch it off, and it's all in the auto mode. So I would like to explore with my camera, and I'm just looking for maybe 15 or 10 days kind of free time for me, which I don't know if I'll be able to get that during my tenure before I retire. But then that's the plan I have in my mind.
Between you and me, I would absolutely love to grab a DSLR and head over to the Northern Lights, be it in Europe or Northern America, wherever that may be, and check it out, because I think that would just be something stunning to capture. Despite all the advances that modern cell phone cameras have made, it's still not quite on par with a DSLR if you know what you're doing with it. Because some of the
Absolutely.
photos they take is just oof, it's just stunning.
Because
Uh,
the DSLR,
anyway,
they offer you the features, so much of rich features, and you can play with every small pixel of the photo you click. Whereas in the smartphone camera, it is more of the fixed things. You can't really play around so much with that.
correct, correct. But then it's also the fact that people say, the best camera is the one you have with you, and taking a DSLR around is not always, when you just want to just grab a quick photo of something. You just can't have a DSLR with you all the time. It's just not possible sometimes, unless you
Correct.
know it's gonna happen. So boom, be ready. So yeah. Of
In
course,
fact,
you've
I
spoken
mean, I
about.
don't know if you got a chance to see. Sorry, you got a chance to see
No, no, no.
the
Go on.
photography of 12 Pro and also the iPhone 11 Pro. They have amazing cameras, by the way, and they're
They
placing
do. They
at
do.
least 3 4 cameras for different requirements. And the latest feature is that let's say if you're doing a video, you can do you can use the front as well as the rear camera at the same time in that video, right?
True. True.
It's together. It stitches together.
And particularly with the 12 Pro, the low light photography is just stunning for something with a lens that
Amazing.
small.
It's
It's
stunning.
incredible.
It's stunning. I mean, that
That
is
is
what I like with Apple. In fact, they don't change the natural lights of the object. Wherein with other brands, they will try to make it more brighter. They will
they
add on
they
those
don't they
vivid
don't. That's
colors and
very
all
true.
that. Apple is just real,
Yes.
original, and natural.
Yeah. Between you and me, I also am avowedly an Apple fanboy. Laptop bolo, phone bolo, watch bolo, whatever it is, totally locked into
Hmm.
that ecosystem for better or worse. On
Yeah.
that topic, then I know you love your brands. You've mentioned that to me previously when we chatted. Um, Beyond perhaps Apple, if you were to pick perhaps one brand to stick with, one brand that perhaps resonates with you the most, which brand would that be?
I mean, the smartphone and all that is Apple only. Hello.
Yeah,
I think
hi.
I lost you in
Sorry, did you
between.
get the
I lost
question?
you in between.
Okay, okay. No, no. I'm just saying. I think my internet was a bit spotty over there. I was just saying that I know you do have your love for Apple, but if you were to, to pick just one brand, that embodies you, that resonates with you most, that you identify with most, perhaps beyond Apple, what would that brand be?
Beyond Apple, you're saying?
Maybe you could go with Apple. Maybe you could go beyond Apple. I leave that open to you.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, Apple is one brand as far as the gadgets are concerned. And if you speak about the clothing, I like CK brand for clothing, for my
Ah,
blazers or my
tasteful.
my suits. My clothing part is definitely a CK brand I prefer, and sometimes Tommy Hilfiger.
Nice, nice, very nice, both of them. I do like quite well. So, a little bit on topic, a little bit on business, so to speak. As an IT leader, what are the key challenges faced by your organization over the course of 2020, and what are your key priorities looking forward to 2021?
Yeah. So. Uh, the key challenges, if you ask me, in particular, the healthcare sector, if you understand, yeah, the COVID, because of COVID, we had a major issues, major challenges in terms of revenue, in terms of the
Oh, yeah,
footfalls, business going down almost 30%, just 30%. I mean, 60 to 70% business went down in terms of revenue. So you can understand the sustainability of the organization in such a situation is very, very difficult, right? However, with the collective efforts of all the employees of Manipal or the family members, we call them as the family Manipal family, we were able to sustain through the situation, through these difficult times, and we are bouncing back. We are coming up very strongly. We are almost there pre-COVID situation in terms of the business, the revenue, etc. But definitely, the COVID situation has actually resulted in a major losses to the organization, and we will still try to sort of recover those losses going forward. And that has actually put us behind the whatever plans we had in terms of automation and all that. So maybe 8 to 9 months or 1 year kind of impact in terms of going back on the track as far as our initiatives are concerned. But yes, we have completely geared up. We are ready to take the new challenges, and we are committed. And the
mm,
journey has, now begun fresh.
right. And we have with us as well Rohit Midha, who's Director, Services Sales at Lenovo India. Rohit, how are you doing today?
Hey, hi, absolutely perfect, and it was an indeed pleasure listening to Nandkishor.
Thank you so
Absolutely
much.
Yeah.
insightful.
Thank
Um,
You
you.
know,
Thank you, Rohit.
you're unlike many other CIOs who have a very serious look. You
Oh my God.
that's true.
that was a fun
Good
conversation.
compliment. Thanks a lot.
I yes, Karan.
Yeah. Rohit, much the same, that as an IT leader, you've also had to face several challenges. And as you've tackled 2020 and then heading over into 2021, you've got your key list of priorities laid out for you in your head. For the sake of our viewers back home, what would those be, those challenges and those priorities?
Yeah. So, firstly, Karan, thanks for having me over and letting me to listen into Nankishore. So, look, I think it's been fairly the same for everybody. I don't think anyone had envisaged a lockdown and something of this magnitude and such intensity. And I think it would be unwise to be talking about what's really happened. What's happened has happened. I think
Mm,
we've sailed through both emotionally, mentally, financially, professionally, whatever you want to call it. So at Lenovo, we're very clearly saying that this is the time where we would like to work with our customers and be that dependent solution provider or be that dependent partner, helping solve
right.
issues. We've been known for our great brand, great products that we make, world class products, the Think Class brand. But we clearly on that journey where we could work with our customers and solve their problems and be a partner to them, a trusted partner to them versus just being a supplier. So there's a lot that we've been doing in that space, Karan. Be it the healthcare or be it education, be it the overall life cycle management. How could we help deploy devices? Uh, Organizations have transformed.
Mhm.
Earlier, customers who would buy devices from us, the tradition was devices would come to the organization and IT engineer would sit on the devices, configure the devices so that they're usable before they can get handed over to the
Right.
employee or the new joinee. All that has changed. Now, even without, there are like 3 members who've joined my team. I haven't met them face to face. I've only been talking to them on video calls. Now, how do you ensure that the device reaches them? They could be working anywhere between Kanyakumari to Kashmir. And how do you ensure that the device reaches them in a working state, so that they can log into your network without the threat of security, without the threat of data? So, and I think that's what we are working on, Karan, and that's where we've made significant progress. We've taken some big strides, and through this, I would like to let your viewers know that that's where Lenovo is today, positioning ourselves as a trusted partner.
Chalo, anyways, thank you so much, Nandkishor, for delivering so much style, so much substance all at
My
once.
pleasure. I really enjoyed
Was
talking to you. Thanks a lot.
pleasure on this
And
side of
have
the
a
internet.
wonderful day and stay safe.